The opinions expressed in the following programs are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect those of Rogers Cable or Rogers TV.
Hi, and welcome to Politically Speaking. I'm David Shearman. My guest today is Mayor Ross Kentner of Meaford. And it's been a long time since I've talked to Ross, and I've got a laundry list. And Ross, I'm sure you've got a whole list of things you want to talk about too. Good to see you.
It's good to see you again. Did you have a good summer?
I had a very good summer, and it's been, and I have to say, the fall has been outstanding as well.
We had a better September than we had August, really. And I will tell you that up until this past weekend, people were swimming at all the beaches in Meaford. And honestly, I have as a youngster swum on Thanksgiving weekend, which is quite late in the sort of midpoint of the fall. On the other side of the bay. But anyway, I had my toes in once this year, but it was a great summer, and certainly a lot of people are finding Meaford, discovering Meaford, and enjoying it in the summer.
Now, I have to say, Ross, has the municipal snow clearing, snow control plan been dusted off, and everything is getting? Are you getting your machinery in order?
I'm sure it is. What probably isn't in order is our expectations. When we see 3 feet of snow pile up in a big hurry, and then we realize we set the standard at clearing this in 36 hours or something like that. So there's always a little bit of a getting used to winter for sure.
Well, I remember the many's the time I've driven over to Meaford, and somewhere around Woodford, the weather changes.
Woodford is exactly where the weather changes.
Yeah,
it does a lot.
It does. It does. And I'm sure you drove that road for many, many years.
6 decades. you know.
Well, we won't go.
I can still count on one hand the number of times that I had to stay, when sound couldn't get back to Meaford. But boy, I've got some hairy tales I can tell, and I love telling those stories.
I'm quite sure. And I also know that Plan B is the Dairy Line. And
Yeah, but the dairy line, I usually, if I can, I've tried the dairy line when I couldn't get through on 26 and gave up on it because it was worse.
yes, I've had a different experience. But hey, this is great. This is great, Bruce. We
Yeah,
are snow, eh? We are
yeah,
snow.
for sure.
Anyway, let's jump right in because you've got some interesting things happening at Meaford Council. You had a resignation of Councillor Steve Bartley, and because he moved to Chatsworth. So, so now you've got to fill a vacant council seat. Well, first of all, why does the move to Chatsworth disqualify him from serving on Meaford Council?
I think simply because, and I'm not sure legally whether he is required to retire. I think he simply wanted to do what he felt was appropriate and best. But certainly, the main criteria for getting elected to a council seat in a municipality is to be a ratepayer in that municipality. You don't necessarily have to live in the municipality. It certainly helps you get elected, but at any rate, what a hole his departure leaves. And I just say that because we all leaned heavily on Steve for his, I would call it financial acumen. I mean, he just understands numbers, understands dollars, and and also has a tremendous capacity for research. So he always knew when we were working on the budget exactly where every other one of the 9 first-tier municipalities in Grey were, and he also had a pretty good idea of where Grey County was. So we're going to miss him a lot, but it also presents an opportunity. You have to every change like this is both a challenge and an opportunity, and the opportunity is to have somebody new have some experience, have a year's experience with the council, which would mean that there'd be that much more continuity if that person were reelected, that much more continuity. Continuity is important, but fresh blood is important too. And we can certainly use fresh blood, and so there has been some controversy over the method of doing this. But in my humble opinion, I think we're approaching it in the best possible way, so that nobody is really disqualified from applying. And the people who think that our attitude is that, well, this is a closed club, and doodle, that's not what it is at all. You know what I mean? We welcome and look forward to introducing a new member, and we want to do it in the most democratic, most transparent way that we possibly can. And I think what was evident to a majority of council was simply that if we open it up to everybody, then we're not excluding anybody. And if we, for example, went back and chose the person who scored the most votes but did not get elected, and offer it to that person and then to the next person and the next person, we actually get down to some people who maybe, were really turned down by the electorate. And on the other hand, if we do, as we are underway now, entertaining applications from anyone interested, as long as they qualify as a ratepayer, and inviting them to just give us a one-pager on why you feel that you want to join our council at this point in time, and then speak to that in an interview, then I think we have not excluded anyone. People who ran in the last election and did not win a seat are able to apply. But so is anybody who qualifies as a ratepayer able to apply. And I think that gives us the broadest degree of recruits. And so that's our choice. And I cannot tell you at this point how we're doing as far as applications are concerned. I believe they were slow at first, but I'm pretty sure that we'll see a good slate of candidates, and it will be, I think, a good thing for this council to add some new blood.
It's interesting because this is not the first time that this has happened municipally. It happened down in Toronto, and they did run a by-election, but that's Toronto, and by-elections are expensive.
Oh, well, you know what? I mean, we have a small war chest for the 2026 election,
Yes.
but honestly, it would having a by-election to find one new councillor is just as expensive as having a by-election, having an election to elect the whole council, seven-member council. So I just I don't understand why people would take offense at the approach that we're taking, because it is offering it to virtually anyone who qualifies and wants to give it a go.
I also know that over in Bruce County, they used the same technique, I think, in Saugeen Shores, one of the Bruce County municipalities, and they came up with an excellent candidate in South Bruce Peninsula. Closer back to the election, they had to do some juggling, but that was a totally different scenario. So basically, it's you made a decision based on what you felt was the best reason for your community, and that makes sense. That makes sense. Besides, we're less than a year, just a little over by a couple of weeks from the next municipal election. So, hey, if someone really is interested, this could be their training.
exactly, exactly. And I can tell you, it's a steep learning curve.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing, like I can tell you for years, I covered municipal councils, Owen Sound City Council, Grey County Council, Bruce County Council, Meaford Council. And when you get in the counselor's chair, it's entirely different from the reporter's chair. And honestly, I was shocked at the learning curve that I faced, and I'm still learning. And I'm disappointed, I will tell you, in this 4-year term that I haven't accomplished more, and that we as a council haven't accomplished more. But I chalk it up to not like I I don't especially like people who fall under the umbrella of career politicians, but I will say at least they understand how everything works, and it does take time to. And then the other thing is, it is. I have to compare it to a business because I was a businessman, and that's all I really know. But what I will say is that it doesn't run like an ordinary business, and it is harder, I think, quite a bit harder to achieve your goals. I mean, I'm used to sitting around a boardroom table and discussing things, and we make a decision, and then we go and do it. But it just isn't that simple in a municipality, and we don't have enough time to explain why it isn't. But I will just say that. So I think I could have accomplished more had I been better experienced as a counselor. I had one 4-year term. I certainly would not run for mayor without having put one 4-year term behind me to get my legs and to understand things better. But at any rate, I feel that we see the horizon. We see the time that we have left to accomplish what we set out to do, and I'm speaking here for the whole council. And we are now very, very focused on ensuring that the main planks of our platform are addressed and that we do. So, if you don't mind,
Go ahead.
I would like to say that. um, First of all, we're now moving toward negotiating a community benefits agreement with TC Energy. Whether this is going to happen or not, I don't know. I think in today's world, where Carney is trying to make Canada an energy superpower, and where it's critically important that Ontario continue to be the main engine of Canada, I think the chances of Ontario pump storage happening are better by far than they were before Donald Trump became president for a second term. So I think we need to move the needle on that. The province has invested, as we know, $285 million in trying to help TC Energy decide, whether this is a viable project. And I just think that we need to be better prepared and more ready than we are. And so we're moving now toward negotiating a community benefits agreement. And I think that is incumbent on us to have that ready so that should it happen, Meaford is in a position to benefit. And I can assure you that there are other jurisdictions that are looking to grab as much of this project as they can, or the benefits of this project. It's our responsibility, I believe, to make sure that if it happens, Meaford benefits and is the primary beneficiary amongst municipalities anyway. We've just developed new terms of reference for what we call our PSAC, which is our Pump Storage Advisory Committee. And I just want to say how much I appreciate the members of that committee. We gave them a tough job, and we didn't do a good job of giving them tools. And we sort of threw them, it's like being thrown to the lions. And I apologize to them. And I thank them for their service. And I think, and here's a case, by the way, where we are getting, the more people we have on advisory committees, the more potential candidates we have to serve as a counselor. And so I'm happy about that, and I think we're doing what we need to do. And thank you to the members of PSAC. Another priority of ours, which has been moving at a I would say a glacial pace, which is something like a snail. um, we have a short-term rental and municipal licensing program underway, and I'm hopeful that we will definitely have benefited from taking our time. We have taken a lot of time here, but it is complex, and it seems you can throw an awful lot of money at this problem, and even if you do, you may not be creating much benefit. And so we're trying to make sure that we do benefit the people who complain about STRs in our community, and and the other thing is it gives us positions us in a much better way for all kinds of businesses in terms of our ability to license them and to penalize them if they don't fail to meet certain criteria in a bylaw. Um, Pardon the pun, but we are rebuilding our building department. There's ask any builder in Meaford what it's like building in Meaford, and you'll get a sob story. But we we're rebuilding the department. It's been problematic. It's nobody's fault in particular, but it's important that we provide a more agile service at a time when Meaford is growing quite dramatically. We have just given pre-budget approval for $215,000 for a request for a proposal for a new website. Meaford has a dreadful website. It's just past its best before date by quite a bit, and I think probably we put too much on it for its capacity, and so it doesn't function very well. And we're not alone in that. Lots of people have websites that they wish they could update, and anyway, we are doing that, and it's very important because we don't want to find ourselves going into an election campaign without a robust website. I can keep going, but I'll.
Well, I'm going to ask you. There's a couple of questions that do arise from that, Roz. You talk about the municipal elections and the website, and which suggests that okay, you've got every municipality has to do this. All 444 municipalities in Ontario have to have an election next year. What is the method for voting? Are you going to be using paper ballots, first of all? Or has
No,
that been decided?
I think it has been decided, and now I've got to dredge my memory, but I think it will be by electronically and by phone, I believe. I stand to be corrected, but as I recall, those were the two methods that we wanted to do, and are trying to streamline the process. Yeah.
Well, I think this year, if I'm not mistaken, that the list of electors is for the first time going to be drawn from both the federal and provincial electors lists. Because there has been one of the problems has been that the electoral lists have been so out of date in many municipalities. I'm not saying in Meaford, but this has been a common complaint.
It is a complaint for sure, and
Yeah,
I think it's exacerbated in a municipality where there are a lot of part-time residents.
right. Or mobile resident people who
Yeah.
there's a lot of mobility over 4 years. So this is something we'll be watching in the next year to be sure. But it's interesting. The methodology of voting will simply be um, online and telephone, electronic and telephone, and there's a variety of methods under the electronic umbrella. It also kind of raises a question. You want to go back to TC Energy,
Mhm.
and the first tangible sign of the project was this drilling rig that was out in the bay this summer. And do you have any idea that, okay, that's step one of probably about 30 steps. Do you have any idea how of the progress? Obviously, the results won't be known for a while, but do you have any idea of the progress that they've had and in that drilling?
Uh, no, I don't. I would say that I don't think I'm not sure that drilling rig is the term to use. It looks like a drilling rig.
I'm just seeing what
What it
people
does,
call it.
and it does drill, I guess, but it's to take soil samples beneath the surface. And the important thing that I would, because there was a huge ruckus about this when it came about in the summer, and the thing about it is this kind of underwater soil sampling takes place all around the Great Lakes, in all of the oceans, including, I believe, the Arctic and the Antarctic. It's a proven method of actually protecting the environment, not interfering with the environment. So it was a little bit of a frustrating to have it being positioned as environmental degradation by TC Energy when they're trying to do the right thing and find out exactly, what the potential of the bedrock and so forth is because. Again, something you never hear from Save Georgian Bay is that they have invested a huge amount of time and money in trying to perfect ways to do what they have to do without harming the aquatic life and or the purity of the water.
And that's always been done in consultation with the Environmental Office of Saugeen Ojibwe Nation.
Yes, and they're believe me, they are on their toes.
Hmm.
They, if there's anybody we can count on in this situation, it is Saugeen Ojibwe Nation, and I wish that the opponents of the project would, consider that fact as well.
Hmm. Well, it's one of those things that will be a topic of conversation over coffee in Meaford, probably for the next few years.
Are you saying coffee chats?
Hey.
That is something we all chuckle about in Meaford because it's a bit of a euphemism for getting educated on what they are doing. But I should probably do that myself. But I do have confidence that they have they heard loud and clear what the concerns are, and they're genuine concerns. The concern today really, more than anything, is the whole business of trying to strengthen Canada's economy on a catch-up, hurry-up basis. That's where I think that it may be challenging for all of us because we gave conditional approval to this project, and the conditions are based on a rigorous environmental assessment. So I think we are all, waiting to see just how things may or may not change. And we can change our position, but I mean I think that people tell me that we've given up all our options and so forth, and that's really not true.
Yeah, I think that these projects are both jigsaw puzzles and moving targets. Jigsaw puzzles, and that there's a lot of pieces that get put together to make the project real, and moving targets because things change. And you just got to look at any major project, any major building project. For example, I was just looking at one of the projects here in Owen Sound. Originally, it was approved as condos. They came back to the city and said, no, we're going to make these rental apartments. Oh, great. We really need these rental apartments. So it becomes a moving, well, say, both a moving target and a jigsaw puzzle because there are, in that area, there's many, many pieces that have to fit together.
And I just like to add the same thing has happened to us in Meaford, where an expensive condo project is turning into a rental opportunity, and that's market forces that and for the good, and
Hmm.
very happy. Uh, we're getting a lot more housing in Meaford, and some of it is, in my mind, more respectful of the economic conditions that people are operating under. I think the prices are for at least some of the new builds are quite appropriate. I wish the banks would be a little more helpful to people. They just don't seem to take any risks anytime, and so I just wish that more people could qualify because I think the price ranges are I think appropriate. And you always have to keep in mind that in a waterfront community such as we are on southern Georgian Bay, um, there is a premium. And so the closer to the water you are, the more the premium. If you really want to, you can buy a house for, I want to say, my observation, just my observation, 30% less if you go 30 miles inland from the Great Lakes.
Very true. Very, very true. It's a very interesting thing to observe over a length of time, and we will see what happens with this with the housing situation, which is a whole. I mean, we could do a whole show on housing if you really wanted to, but we're not.
It's it is a real challenge, and the good thing is that more people in more jurisdictions are and the different layers of jurisdiction are all collaborating, working, trying to rationalize things, trying to get to more affordable housing, but. So what we're doing, just as I say, we are focused very much on that, and we're looking for a like the true definition of affordable. We're looking, can we get a project? Where would it go, and so forth.
Hmm. Hmm.
One of the things I have tried to do, and I hope that after I'm out of office, that people will say one thing that Kentner did was he uh, made a contribution to the long term in terms of paving the way for uh, lower cost housing and also for commercial and industrial. Uh, we
And with
very important.
and with that, Ross, we're going to take a quick break because somebody wants to have a word with our viewers. So, friends, I'm David Shearman. We will be right back.
This program is brought to you by Rogers Xfinity, connecting you to more of what you love. Visit Rogers.com for more details. This is Rogers TV.
When I was little, my mother took me to the zoo. My love affair began right there. I wanted to know everything about giraffes, but there were no books, so I went to Africa to study them myself.
I was expecting Mr. Innes. You misrepresented yourself.
I certainly did not. I am A. Innes.
If I knew you were Miss A. Innes, I never would have invited you.
Exactly. My research was considered groundbreaking and published in the world's top scientific journals. I became known as the first authority on giraffes. Discrimination against women in Canadian universities prevented me from getting tenure. but my love for giraffes persisted all my life.
My mother, Dr. Anne Innes Stagg, was the first Western scientist, man or woman, to study any African mammal in the wild. In 2019, she received the Order of Canada.
Hi, I'm Carol Merton, host of We All Belong, Our Neighbors, Our Community, a new Rogers TV series promoting the diversity of our community in Grey County. Please join me on Rogers TV.
Hi, and welcome back to Politically Speaking. I'm David Shearman. My guest today is Mayor Ross Kentner of Meaford. Always good to have Ross here to tell us what's happening down the bay. Ross, good to see you again.
Yes, indeed.
Now, I wanted to ask you that there's been one of the big issues that's been going on in Ontario is strong mayor powers. And the big issue that comes out of that is the budget. I do want to ask you, and I didn't mention this earlier, are you going to be doing the budget, or are you going to let the council do it? Or do you have a clear process for your budget?
We do. And you are sitting down. We're going to let the staff do it. That's the way it is supposed to be done, or is rumored to be done, but isn't always. And I'm not so sure after, will be our fourth budget as a mayor. I'm not so sure that staff have always had the opportunity to have their input and or to have it count in the way it should. That's not a good thing for the simple reason that it means that they maybe don't have the experience or the expertise to actually do this. What I am going to say is this, that I don't like anything about or much about strong mayor powers, but I will not shrink from being contributing significantly to the budget. And I think all council does, and I'm the mayor is only one of 7 councillors. But at the end of the day, I feel that it's important that the mayor be satisfied that a budget is going to fulfill the needs and the wishes of the electorate. And I think that we've got a pretty good idea of what people are looking for in our municipality and their capacity for different levels of tax increase. And also, fee increases. And so I think I just want to be, I will take advantage of those powers to be satisfied that this is going in the direction that I think it should. And we didn't really, we didn't find that, nobody, I don't think, was terribly happy with our last budget. And that's, I think that we've learned from that the best way to have a budget, because the budget we ended up with was a staff-driven budget, and if we can do that going forward for the 26 budget, I think that and again at the end of a 4-year term, I think we have a really good fix on how we should set the new council up. So that they can come in and find the job fairly easy, that they don't have to struggle with something that we have left them with. And I think that I want to be sure that we do have a budget that, first of all, is driven by staff. The CAO, of course, has a large role. I think the CAO's position is to, just like the mayor and all councillors, is to have a big picture vision of what we're trying to achieve and how best to do it. And
you've also got a very, very experienced CAO in place.
We are very fortunate in that Sean Everett has been a breath of fresh air for us, and has really quickly grasped everything that he needed to assimilate to sort of be in the driver's seat to have his hands on the levers, and I think that it is being reflected in what I would call a much more customer service attitude from our staff. I think everybody's on the same page, and that's really was what I tried to be elected for, was to try and see if we couldn't improve that customer service perspective. And it has taken time. It has taken a while, and every time that you have a change at the top, that is a change of CAOs, and we've had two. You skid your wheels. You can't help it. You go through a period of time where there's going to be inertia because there's a learning curve in everything for everybody.
Sure. And it does make it perhaps a little easier for the incoming council because they will have a pattern for a budget, and so will staff after the next election. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. There were a couple of items that caught my eye. Speaking of budget, and the first was that over the summer, there was a staff report saying that expansion for the municipal wastewater treatment plant may not be necessary. It might well be avoided. That probably perked up everybody's ears.
I would say temporarily avoided. I think we can postpone worrying about a big crunch on this for the simple fact that we have been taking measures, and I give all credit to staff. We have been taking measures to improve, as you know, there's inflow and outflow and all the rest of the flows, and it's important to make sure that we're dealing with the right numbers. One thing I have learned, I think that probably almost everything municipal is over-engineered to a degree. I think that's it's just the way things go when engineers do what they do.
Well, they last 100 years. I mean, the whole idea for an engineer is to make sure that whatever's built doesn't fall apart in their lifetime.
Anyway, enough said. I just think that we are in a better position than we understood ourselves to be, and that is really, really good. We have tons and tons of potable water. Like, we don't have any problem that way. We need more customers for it. And here's the thing: you hear people saying, "Well, forget about building houses. Stop that. We don't want to grow." And the reason is, it's only going to cost us more. Our taxes are going to go up. So stop doing anything. Well, unless we have more customers for our water and for our sewage treatment, then things will go up. And conversely, if we don't do that, if we keep growing, there will be more people to shoulder the burden of. And a concern, which we haven't really talked about, but the provincial government seems to be quite popular in some areas and very unpopular in other areas. And one of the areas where I think that I'm concerned is development charges. And it seems to be they are toying with this idea and then that idea and then something new and something different. And all I can say is, as long as development pays for growth, that is fine. If it stops paying for growth, then we got to revisit this whole idea. And maybe some of the naysayers are right. Maybe we should just keep everything as it is and don't try to grow or improve. But at the end of the day, I'm a believer that if you're not moving forward, you're sliding back.
It's interesting you say that, Ross. I was reading very recently a very provocative article that suggested that the statement "development pays for development" is simply not true. That development doesn't pay for development because the costs are so great, and that we all have a load to share, particularly in the area of water and wastewater, because that's got to be a user pay system. So Yeah,
We're investigating how we can relieve the burden on on user pays scenarios such as water and sewer, because it's some of those costs are astronomical and very difficult. But I do want to say, like, I've got a couple of things I want to talk to you about where development charges are paving the way for these things. And I think it's important that people know that there is a benefit to development charges. So if I can just mention a couple here, we're using development charge funding to increase this year's budget for the McCarroll Park splash pad. It's going to be built in the spring of 26, and we're going to hopefully have an official opening on the longest day of play in June. And I want to thank the Sydenham Optimists for their generous support of this project all along. And so that's one. Another one, development charge funding is going to enable us to move forward with the pedestrian bridge over the Big Head River in 26. The Friends of Beautiful Joe have been raising money since 2019. They've raised $130,000 toward the project. And what will happen is this will be the new entrance to Beautiful Joe Park. You will enter from what's known at this time as Legion Park, but the Legion building is long gone, and I think we will have an entrance over the pedestrian bridge and engross that the north side of the river as part of Beautiful Joe Park as well.
Well, it's interesting that this municipal financing, and let's step back from just development charges because it's a much larger issue. The suggestion has been made that what really needs to happen is that the province needs to revisit the financing model for municipalities.
Well, yeah, no doubt, no quite. They've been downloading and downloading and downloading onto municipalities, and there's another load that just arrived at our gate, and that is the funding of the police boards, the public police boards, and they said all along that they were going to continue to fund those. They've made a bunch of changes and made it extremely rigorous. I know of at least one councillor who has resigned because he was not prepared to take on the degree of responsibility that was being laid on to people who take that on. And at the end of the day, now they are, trying to unload the cost of the service which they were providing before.
Yes, it's a very complex situation, but it's an ongoing one. Oh, to be a fly on the wall at AMO and Roma.
And I'm just going to throw it to you, David, because I know that justice is near to your heart. I think that we need to be very, very concerned about the fact that the province is essentially throwing out charges, serious charges, all kinds of charges, because they haven't got enough judges, they haven't got enough courts, and they haven't got their act together.
Very true. I've heard that time and time again, and it's one of those ongoing themes in this province, to be sure. But let's move on a little bit. The Trillium Fund, Ontario Trillium Foundation, Trillium Fund, gave a grant to the curling club in Meaford for a new ice plant of $200,000. You're going to be throwing a lot of rocks on that curling ice,
we have a great curling club in Meaford, and they have a great facility that they share with other organizations, and it plays an important, their facilities play an important role. They complement our community center and so on, and so many things benefit from this. And I also just want to take a moment to say how happy I am that my opponent in the mayoral race in Meaford 4 years ago was Paul Vickers. Paul has been elected MPP, and he is just doing a bang-up job. He has jumped in both feet, and I'm seeing all kinds of benefits from having an MPP who, and I know he's representing all of the riding, but he knows Meaford inside out, and I know that we can be sure that he won't let any harm come our way.
Well, I have interviewed him. We had our second interview just recently, and I will tell you, he's improved. He's gotten better.
Well, what a stiff learning curve he would have, but
Yes.
my observation is that he hasn't missed a beat.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
good on you, Paul, and I really have enjoyed working with him so far in this role, and we will continue that as long as we're in this role.
Yeah, it's one of those important things. I mean, you have to be in a good relationship with your MPP and your MP,
Absolutely.
particularly
Absolutely.
in Meaford, because you've got the Canadian Forces base there, the training center there, which
By
is
the
a
way,
very large federal property.
yes, on October 20th, Lieutenant Colonel Joe Tobin is going to be addressing council, and I look forward. This is a sort of a pre-Remembrance Week address from him, and we last rubbed shoulders at the Freedom of the City event in July, and that was such a great time. He delivered 300 soldiers to our door, and what a great time we had lunching at the community center after the parade. It was just a marvelous time, and what we are doing right at the moment is we're having a shadow box constructed to house the sword with which he rapped on the big oval top doors at Meaford Hall. And we're going to have it in a box and hopefully on display in Meaford Hall. Ultimately, it may reside at the council chambers. It may reside in the museum in years to come. I don't know. But I will share with you that I believe he was delighted with the gift we gave him, which was a World War I compass.
Hmm.
An unknown soldier had used to guide his way home, and we sort of coined that phrase and said, to all of the soldiers who come to Meaford to train, that we hope they find their way back to Meaford too.
Sure. The last time I saw the Freedom of the City ceremony was actually in Fredericton with C Squadron Royal Canadian Regiment, which was an armored regiment. And they entered the city with tanks. And they did not knock on the door of City Hall with a sword. They announced themselves at the city limits with rounds off the tank guns. And yes, windows were broken.
My goodness.
So you're lucky you didn't get that, Ross.
Well, I think we're very lucky with the leadership that we have at the 4th Canadian Division Training Center at this point in time, and it's never been not good, but is a really fine relationship, and I've so much enjoyed, the getting closer, and yeah, they had a great open house at the range, and yeah, all good.
Good. Well, it's one of those things we kind of take for granted. But I also saw something recently that is it Collingwood or Town? I think it's Collingwood. Councillor Paula Hope,
No, Town of Blue Mountains
Town of
Council.
Blue Mountains, yes, is doing her forebears were removed from the base property, and she is documenting the stories, which I think is an excellent thing because there's a whole series of stories of there which deserve a much higher profile in our community.
It is important because I'm sure the average Canadian just isn't aware of how these training facilities came to be and the repercussions when they did come to be. So there's another thing that should be looked at. I want to get busy and get hold of Mr. Coyne's new book on Canada's failing democracy. I feel that it's a concern for all of us, and I think that I want to see just what he has had to say there. But I think, um, yeah, quite
Great.
something to be. I've got a little collection of books on Canadian history, and they all have, informed me over time. Can I give you just a couple other things before we?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what I see happening, and I'm not taking credit. This is just like we are gaining momentum in the municipality of Meaford. Things are moving, and the more it's momentum. But I would say every week there's a ribbon cutting on Syke Street. Lovebird Craft Brewery and Belmarsh Restaurant. They were added to our restaurant strip this summer. And right next door is Beehive, a bookstore where it's actually licensed to be, and you can go back and forth to the bar and take a local brew into the bookstore and read. It's just quite unique, to say the least. We're working on more patios for next summer. We had 5 this summer, and I think that's there were just 2 on the main street. There may have been a third actually, and then 2 at the old fire hall, and one on Nelson Street north, or at least west of Sykes, and that's at Excitement, which has a nice patio. There's a new athletic club and gym opening later this month at the SCP Center. That's the old Amrock factory. Pardon me. And I guess I gave you the story about the development charges that are funding 2 parks that are going to be completed in the coming year. So,
Yeah. And we also have to lift up the idea that, remind people that Scarecrow Invasion is back.
They will be up until the end of October, and just this past Friday was the big day, the Scarecrow Parade and Family Festival, and the biggest crowds I have seen for this, and it was just. And you know what the key to this is? It would never happen without the volunteers. And what I noticed in particular was if you look at the floats, and there were over 40 floats, each of those floats represented either a business or an organization or a club, or so like Rotary, for example, and so many more. So it's an indication of the community, the sense of community, and how important community is to a municipality like Meaford. And we're so blessed that that community actually covers over 500 square kilometers. I mean, there was many people from Bognor and all of the hamlets. I think it's like one big happy family now, and we're very lucky to have that.
Yeah, and it's these community festivals that really do make the community, bring people together. I mean, I've been to many Santa Claus parades over in Meaford, and it's the energy is so positive and so uplifting. Well, as long as you can remember where the switch is for the lights, Ross.
Well, if they don't tell me, I don't know where it is.
Well, I know that, but yeah, this is what brings people together. We have about 5 minutes left, and I did want to mention that your predecessor, Barb Klumpus, her husband passed away just recently, and I gather he was a local dentist, very active for many years, and viewers will remember Barb, who have been watching this show for any length of time. So our sympathies to her.
Yeah, I think Frank practiced, and I don't know this for sure, but it's an assumption on my part that he practiced in Sudbury.
Yes.
Where his home was. I think that's where his practice was. But no, Frank was a fine gentleman, and we don't run into each other very often, but I certainly appreciate the help and sort of encouragement and direction that I got from Barb Klumpus.
Yes, Meaford has had and all of the mayors that I've introduced, all that I have interviewed, have always been very gracious and very helpful and very interesting. You're included in that, Ross. So.
Thank you for that.
Well, what are you looking forward to in the next couple of months?
Fundamentally, the budget is going to be the main thing. Making sure that we have a budget that is going to enable some of the talent on our existing council to get reelected, and also encourage others that this is a good time to step into municipal affairs. I want to say we do not have enough participation from the women in our community. We get that participation in our standing committees, like our public committees, but we just have Deputy Mayor Keaveney as the only female member of our council, and I think that we would definitely benefit from more participation. And I encourage that because I think that I've always had the experience that men can be outworked and outwitted. And I think that they just have so much, they bring so much to the table and work so hard. And I think that I hate to think that, but I have heard that some feel excluded just by the nature of the direction that politics is going in, and it's all sort of influenced by what happens south of us in the what I hate to call the un-United States. But honestly, it is something we're seeing more of all the time, and I think we have to do everything we can to try and change this this dynamic. And I think getting more women involved would temper that, for one thing. And but just basically because we need, different ideas, different beliefs, whatever. There's so much to be gained by, and also young people. The one thing I will say about the 4-year term, there isn't any question that it's good in terms of continuity and in terms of people developing and growing into the job. But not everybody knows where they're going to be working or living even a year from now, let alone 4 years from now. So I think there's a bit of a I like the 3-year term. I think that it was, just a little better than the 4, simply because it's hard for people to make a 4-year commitment.
And with that, Ross, I'll offer my thanks to you for your conversation today, because it's always good to hear what's happening in Meaford. And to you, friends who are watching, thank you for joining us. I'm David Shearman. This is Politically Speaking. My guest has been Ross Kentner, the mayor of Meaford. And yes, we'll talk again.
Connect with us by visiting our website or email us at comments@rogerstv.com.
Every year, dozens of Canadians are killed or seriously injured because they take risks around railway tracks. Talk to your loved ones about rail safety. Visit stoptracktragedies.ca.
Waves of be here.
It feels like coming home.
I'm ready, baby. Oh my God.
Not that song. Oh my God, Cynthia.
Tamara, it's time to leak some info.
Did you date Nick Cage?
Yes, I did. You weren't expecting that, were you?
Who to you is the most toxic man on